Hi, today I'd like to show you how we can frame 3D objects very easily using the tapered box method. Also, using the tapered box method, we can use mouldings such as these with very small rebates. The items in question we can do are, for example, the icing or the teddy bear. The beauty about the tapered box method is it's very easy to do, looks very professional, and the materials we use are all standard framing items. Using the tapered box method allows us to frame large objects without worrying how deep they are, such as little Ted. And for today I would like to show you how we go about framing little Ted. First thing we have to do is find the highest point of little Ted when he's lying down, and for this we'll use a ruler. Looking horizontally from the tip of Ted's nose across to the ruler is approximately 9 centimetres. We take this figure 9 centimetres and times it by 1.16. This is very important. This will give us the width of the sides of the box we're going to make. The last time I went to school, approximately that's about 104 millimetres. The next step, we need to approximate the size of the base of the box. So from Ted's feet to his head, 250 millimetres. Make a note of that. Turn Ted round, and the width of Ted approximately 140 millimetres. Bearing in mind the sides of the box are going to taper. Onto the dimensions of the base, add on twice the width of the sides using the figure we calculated earlier. That then gives us the total size to cut the board. For the making of the box we can use old board of a colour which you don't normally use, or any scrap pieces of board, because we are going to paint it. We now have to mark the width of the sides on the board, and also half this measurement, making 2 marks either side of the board, all the way around. So measuring first 104 millimetres and then halving it at 52 millimetres. It is ideal to use a pencil at this stage when you're marking out, because if you make a mistake, it's easy to rub out. Now we have to join up the 104 millimetre marks . And this will show us where the sides of the box are. What we need to do now is cut away part of the mount board so that the sides will fold to an angle. Now you remember this mark 52 millimetres. Well, from there to the cross point of the 104 millimetres, we then cut with the Stanley knife. And again on the other side. You need to do this on all four corners. So you end up with that shape. We then lightly score along the line of 104 millimeters . And this will allow your sides to be folded in to create the box. We now need to colour the board to complement the colours of Little Ted. For this we will use acrylic paint, natural sponge and a big brush. The ideal paints to use are the water-based artist acrylic paints. The best way to cover a large area with paint is to use the sponge. Very, very easy, and also you don't see any brush marks. This will also help seal the board. Using the sponge is an ideal way to create a nice little pattern onto the board. Making sure that you turn the board around so that the pattern is not too even. Use Ted to check the colours you've already painted. I think we need a little more dark paint at this stage. Just mix a little bit here for the darker areas of Little Ted. And very lightly use the sponge in this colour. And then very lightly dab the sponge into the board. Again, moving the board to make sure that your pattern is quite uneven. Okay, and there you go, the finished pattern for Teddy Bear's box. And that's a much better match to Ted's colour. Now we have to complete the box by joining the sides, and we do this by using strong acid-free tape. Place the tape on one side and then pull very tightly to the other side. This will give you a nice tight join. That's the box made, but the sides are a little bit flimsy. So we need to reinforce these using either MDF or the fluted board. In order to get this to match the shape of the side of the box, it's very easy. The width is the actual width of the sides of the box. The angles can be done very easily just by placing the box over the board and marking along the board so we can get the angle. This does the long side, and then it's quite easy to just turn it around and measure the short side. We then, using the Stanley knife, cut along your line and along the other line, and there we have a side which we can now go ahead and stick to the side of the box. To do this, we will use transfer tape and a good bit of PVA. And then apply this to the side of the box. Making sure that the side lines up quite nice. Nice and firm. And now we'll continue with the other sides. Always make sure you press firmly down on each side. Okay, that's the last side. So there you can see a fairly sturdy box. You'll notice we've got the back uncovered at the moment, and also we have the little gap on each corner. An ideal way to tidy up these gaps is using the gum tape, like this. Apply the tape equally on both sides, and then using a sharp scalpel cut off the excess.
Yeah.
Can you see how nice and neat that corner now becomes? As the gum tape dries, it will shrink slightly and pull the corners a little bit more tighter. Once all the sides have been attached, you've then got a nice, sturdy box. We can now pop Ted into the box, and now we need to decide on whereabouts Ted will sit in the box. Once we're quite happy with where Ted is sitting in the box, you can use wire or fishing wire or cotton. In order to know where we put the wire, we need to mark where we need to make some holes. In this case, we're going to mount Ted around his neck. To make the holes in the box, we'll use a needle to make a hole in the box. Thread the wire through the first hole. Place Ted in the box. Wrap the wire around his neck. And thread through the other hole. And pull tight. And then twist the box around, holding the wire. Okay, nice and tight. At this stage, Ted is now held in place by his neck. Okay, we still need to fix Ted in quite firmly, so we'll mark on the inside of his leg and just on the outside of his leg. Then use the needle to make the holes. Then thread the wire through the first hole, around the top of his leg, and through the other hole. Pull nice and tight and then twist. Ted is now firmly fixed into the box and will not fall out. It's now at this stage we need to put in the little title, Little Ted. And the easiest way to make a title in a box is use the computer, print onto ordinary parchment paper, attach it to sticky board, and then with the mount cutter just nice and neatly bevel the edge. Once this has all been done, you can then stick it onto some foam core. Use the ruler to help place Little Ted's name in the centre. We can further enhance Little Ted by using mounts. Obviously the colours to match Little Ted. We then make the frame for the box, and in this case we are using a small rebate moulding. We then cut a piece of glass to suit the frame, which is then placed above Little Ted, and then we can place the frame above the glass. Now we need to attach the box into the frame, and to do this we use silicone rubber. We squeeze the silicone nice and neatly into each corner. When the silicone cures, it will give a nice tight hold on the box. Just a little bit down the sides. While the silicone is curing, we'll now attach a back. Using the PVA, and making sure you press firmly down to make sure it sticks all round. For this gap and for this gap here, we will use the gum tape to tidy them up. Just wet the gum tape and again apply nice and evenly and trim off with the scalpel. Once the back has been edged with the gum tape, we then proceed with a wider gum tape to cover the larger gap where we place the silicone. Use a scalpel again to edge. And trim. And there you have it, a nice, neat, tidy back of the box. So there you have it, little Ted in his little box frame. The tapered box method can be used for virtually any object. It's only limited really by your imagination. So until next time, don't get boxed in.
An ideal way to cost and price your tapered box frames is by using the very easy to use FrameMan picture frame pricing software. For more details, check out the website at www.frameman.co.uk or contact Acorn Arts on 01302 880 822.